Greening the African horizon, a new dawn rising with the sun.
This is the Confident One podcast, brand new season of the GLF series, deemed Greening the African Horizon, but we're dabbing it, inspiring confidence in greening the African horizon. And I have an amazing guest in the building. She's a creative writer, a poet, and an activist doing amazing things in the environment space. Welcome, Asiibii, from Nigeria.
Thank you so much.
You're from a state called Plateau.
Yes.
Tell me more about your state.
Okay. So,
I know Lagos, I know Abuja.
yeah, so Plateau State is found in the north central,
Okay.
or as we would call it, the middle belt of Nigeria. And it has a very good temperature. There's a very good temperature there, or a good weather. And quite a number of people visit Plateau State because of the beautiful environment. There are a lot of rocks in Plateau State, and Plateau, so there are a lot of heights.
So we should come visit.
Please, by all
You
means.
should tell them. They're watching right now.
Please come to Plateau State. Just specifically, yeah.
All right, amazing. Is it first time in Nairobi?
Yes, this is my first time.
First time. All right, welcome to Nairobi. Are you loving it?
Asante.
Asante means thank you. You've
Yes.
learned some Swahili words. Which one?
That's all.
That's all.
Yeah, Karibu.
Karibu means welcome.
Yeah.
Asante means thank you.
Yeah, so that's the best I could do.
You're going to learn more. How long are you going to be in Nairobi?
I'm supposed to leave tomorrow, but there are a lot of people saying I could stay, so I don't know.
Yeah, stick around.
Just maybe something will
And
happen.
you see the city. The only green city in Africa, actually, by the way. With the park. We have a national park in the city.
Yeah,
You can go check it out.
and I see that you have quite a lot of forests too.
Yeah, very green.
So it's been amazing being here.
In line with the theme, green in the African horizon.
This is the best location.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to learn about your passion about climate justice and gender justice. Can you maybe break down how this came about? How did you become passionate about climate justice and gender justice?
Okay, so it started off with gender justice, but I never meant it to be gender justice.
Okay.
I grew up in a community where the women voices were not heard, and then I went to school, and I got exposed to quite a number of topics and social studies and civic education as to how women have rights, and just as a human being I have a right. Then as a woman I also have
they're women rights, but they're all human rights.
Yeah. So but because of the community I come from, women are underrepresented. So having that exposure helps me to know that, okay, I should be doing something about this particular problem where women are not heard. So I started engaging with my immediate community,
Okay.
having talks, then going to other conferences where I know that those particular topics will be discussed. So then one time I had the opportunity to engage with an organization called Just Green Center.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're all about, they're a youth-led organization, and they're all about climate justice, then gender justice as well. So we had a whole conference, and there was a lot of talk, and a lot of panel sessions. And from there, I got really motivated. That was in 2017 or 18, I can't remember.
Okay.
But then I met quite a number of people who were already within the climate justice and gender justice ecosystem. So it was really an experience to, be in touch with those people and gain so much knowledge from them. So that is how it started. Then I just continued going to conferences and developing capacities, engaging in workshops and training. So I just delved into it.
And you're doing great. How has it been for you, the journey?
It's been challenging. First, that's the truth, because again, where I come from, very minimal space is given for women to be heard. So it's quite challenging to have to be on that lane of promoting gender justice and also climate justice. And there's very minimal climate justice education where I come from.
So the awareness is a bit scarce.
Yes, it's a bit scarce.
Okay.
And I don't feel like they don't know that bad waste disposal is bad, but I think maybe they do not know the extent to which it can destroy. I mean, taking waste now as an example.
Okay, yeah.
Waste management as an example. Maybe they don't know to the extent to which it would have consequences when we don't manage our waste. So there's very minimal climate justice education and gender justice education also. So.
But right now, I think we can say we're on the right path.
Yeah, we are, especially because over the years, I've been active for the past 7 years within the creative community in Jos. So using poetry also to engage the...
We even spoke about that, how art is very instrumental in driving the message and putting the word out.
Exactly. So how I've been using art to engage especially the youthful population has been really amazing. Though challenging, but it has been amazing to be using art because art in itself is a very mild and subtle way to get through across to people, especially the young people.
It has a soft landing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you might just be enjoying some sort of music.
But it's still getting the message.
Poetry, yeah. So you might be just nodding your head and enjoying the whole moment. But then subtly, you know that it's getting to your mind. And before you know it, because you remember the poem, you are able to keep thinking about it, keep thinking about it. And before you know it, because of the message that is sent through the poem, you are compelled, so to say, to take action. So
absolutely
it's been really
amazing.
exciting.
Okay.
Yes.
And this brings me to my other question about partnerships and finance.
Yeah.
We know how even getting the message out, organizing a concert, organizing a forum, it's expensive.
Very expensive.
You need partners, you need finances. How important is that? That's a very big theme in this conference, partnerships and finance. How important is partnership and finance in achieving a prosperous future for Africa?
It is very important, just as you've mentioned. We can never neglect the role that finance take within the ecosystem and conserving the environment. It really does not start with money.
By the way, there's a misconception. People think it starts with money.
No. It doesn't actually start with money. It starts with a personal commitment. It starts with a personal commitment to be part of the solution rather than the problem. So it starts from, being involved. Then when you start, you also use what you have.
What's within your reach.
Yes, what's within your reach. Thank you so much for that. So you have to use what is within your reach. And it must not necessarily be money. It may be relationships, it may be partnerships, probably people who are already within the space. So it doesn't start with money, it actually starts with commitment.
Actually, they say a new broom sweeps well, but an old broom knows all the corners. So people who are in the industry can be
very helpful, yes.
Okay.
But then we can also not underemphasize the need for finances and partnerships because they are very important. It's like a growth process. Some are already ahead, and we can never neglect that.
It's some are ahead of the pack, some are catching up.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we have to make sure that we have a community who are ready to support us, whether in kind or in cash. But the cash is also necessary because if to say we are having a conservation project, we would need to get seedlings. Seedlings are not free.
And we need to buy the seedlings.
Yes, and we even need gloves to make sure that our hands are protected or whatever we are using.
Gear.
Yes, and quite a number of equipments that we need to make sure that this is possible. So as much as finances is important, but I think partnership comes first before even the access
the finance to the funds.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's amazing because the misconception is people think the money comes first.
No.
But first build the partnership.
Yeah.
And now
money
seek the
comes.
funds.
Yeah. And just to also add to that, I've been engaging within the space, the creative space in Jos and globally for 5 years. The first time I had to access funding for a creative work that was fully funded was last year.
How did that? Was it difficult for you?
I wouldn't say it was difficult because they had criteria, but it wasn't. It was not stringent. It was not stringent conditions because I'm an artist. They just asked if how long I've been within the space, and if I had any projects. And thankfully, I had a project before that I could use as a portfolio for them to see and go through. So it wasn't so hard. And I was selected, I think it was an African stuff. Yeah.
All right.
It was sponsored by African Culture Fund. So in a list of 1,080 something applications, only 20 of us were picked, and it was really
very competitive.
Yeah, very competitive.
Okay,
and it was really exciting for me to have been awarded that grant.
Okay,
yes. The title of the project was "We Are All Poets." It's a collection of 7 poems that is centered on social justice. So we have mental health, talking about feminism.
Yeah, and the mental health conversation it's getting traction. It's a big conversation, especially in Africa right now.
Exactly.
Before, people didn't understand it, but now people understand the importance of mental health.
Exactly. Then when a black person goes to therapy, they're like, this is white people stuff.
By the biggest misconception, go for therapy. Get therapy.
Please go for therapy.
Yes.
It's not white people stuff. It is important.
It's human being
stuff.
stuff.
It's a human being stuff. Thank you so much. It's important that when you it is a natural thing for a person to get overwhelmed.
It's like going to the gym.
Good.
Thank you. Playing a sport.
Exactly.
The same way, take care of your mental health. Take care of the brain.
Exactly. And you know how the brain works. When your brain is not stable, then there's a way your whole body is disoriented.
Yes.
So mental health is very important, especially also for activists who are engaging actively within the social justice space. Even within activists, there are a lot of resistance, even within us, the activists.
Yeah,
there's
true.
a lot of resistance. So someone may do something that you're not too comfortable with. You might be engaging people who do not see the vision that you have, and it makes you question whether or not you're on the right
right path. Yeah, true.
So sometimes you just get overwhelmed with a lot, or you have a lot to do to cover, and you may not have funding for that. You just get overwhelmed and think, should I really? Probably people who have businesses be like, should I just leave this thing and just concentrate?
It's easy to quit, by the way, but you shouldn't quit.
Yes. Yeah. So when you get that overwhelmed, make sure you have a community. Even if you don't go for
escape,
therapy,
maybe.
Yes, you should have a community where you can offload all these feelings and just breathe in and breathe out and just hang out. Just some music and just some drinks, and please, by all means, if you have the opportunity to go for therapy,
some poems,
you can go online also and get my poems. They're
by
very
the way,
relaxing.
you're gonna recite something for us later?
Yes,
in the segment,
by all
the next
means.
segment.
By all
Looking
means.
forward to that.
Same here.
Let me dive into another theme that's also very huge in the conference.
Okay.
It's about tech and data.
Yeah.
I want to know the importance, in your perspective, in your opinion, how important is it to use technology and data in achieving a prosperous future for Africa? And in also greening the African horizon. How important is technology, AI, and all these tech advanced ideas?
It is very important to inculcate technology in greening the African horizon because the future is digital.
Yes.
Yes, 10 years ago, we didn't have as much technology as we have today. And despite the fact that it has its own disadvantages, but I would love to focus on the advantages that it provides for us. So technology, especially as it relates to greening the African horizon, help us with the AI, helps us to generate ideas faster. So
simplifies the process.
Simplifies the process. So a person does not have to go through a lot of research papers before getting solutions and all of that. If I just type probably land restoration tips or something, Meta AI will just
pops up.
And the thing is just to find a solution that is indigenous or context specific. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay.
Probably to find something that is context specific. So it's really important that we inculcate technology in what we're doing, right? But also find a means to put boundaries, because technology itself, if
check and balances.
Yes, good.
Okay.
So if not checkmated, then it might destroy what we want the solution
achieve,
that we want to achieve. So technology is important. Now back to data. Research is very important because we don't want to be making assumptions. We want to be making data informed decisions.
Informed decisions, and accurate information.
Exactly. So we want to be engaging with real life problems, not just assumed problems. And this is one of the issues that activists and people who work within the social justice and ecosystem have. They just come to a community without speaking to the community or researching or, knowing the actual problem of the community. And they just come, and maybe the community does not have trees, and we are here to come and plant trees. We don't care what your problem is. We just want to plant trees. And they plant their trees and leave. And the community does not take responsibility for the trees because that is not their initial problem.
So they have other problems.
Very good.
Deep-seated ones.
Exactly. So maybe the main problem bedeviling the community is clean water. If you address that,
sanitation.
Good. And sanitation, waste disposal and all of that, it will be easier for them to engage with tree planting.
So I'm liking your thought process. So you're saying it's good to identify what affects this community.
Exactly.
And how do we address that in line with what you're trying to achieve?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. And it should be very context specific because as much as climate change affects all communities, it affects them in different ways. So data is important, research is important. No matter, even if it's just a focus group of probably community leaders who are, in charge of these communities, let us hear from them. Let there be a peer-to-peer learning.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Let there be a peer-to-peer learning and stakeholder engagement so that we're able to know the issue before engaging physical solutions within the community. Yeah,
okay.
So we should.
And got me thinking about rights and livelihoods in shifting landscapes. Because we are trying to educate the community, showing them the importance of greening the horizon and the community and environment. But how do we ensure it's in a just way?
Okay.
The rights are not affected and the livelihoods also.
Okay. So it is important that we present solutions to these communities. But as you've said, justice, and as we do it, justice and taking their livelihoods too is important. Now, I think there's this, I don't know if it's an African saying or it's a general saying, but as much as you want to give a man a fish, you should also teach him to fish. The most sustainable way is to teach him to fish. So when we come to a community and we have interventions and all of that, we need to empower the community. Because, as I said earlier, taking responsibility is important.
Yes.
So if they're not empowered to take responsibility, whether empowerment through knowledge or empowerment in finances, it is important that livelihood is inculcated in whatever program that we're doing. Because, let me say it in broken English.
Okay.
Now, person wey chop, they do environmental practice.
All right.
And that means that it's someone who was eating and is comfortable that can go out and engage with community issues, you understand? If I'm hungry or I have my own personal issues, I may not have the motivation to even join in a community.
So we need to address the pressing issues first.
Very good.
Before now we
and
go to...
And livelihoods are very important.
Yeah.
Empowerment is very important. And if I have information but not sufficient information, then whatever I may be doing may not have so much impact. So livelihood and justice is very important in the thing we're doing. And also, as I get back to talking about gender justice, it's important to involve everyone who is within the community. So we are talking youths are not left behind. We're talking women.
Inclusivity.
Yes, inclusivity should be at the forefront. So that's where the justice comes in. Don't say that the women should just find a place, or we want only the men because they are the ones that know what happened.
By the way.
Yeah. So let's make sure that these conversations are inclusive, these engagements are inclusive. And again, I see that these days we're focused also on the youth and, women and girls. But children
Kids,
are the future.
They're the future.
I mean, even if...
we need to educate them from...
from an
early
even
age.
if it means that we have... when we were young, there's this calendar, there this... what do they call it? There will just be calendars where there are a list of animals and their names.
I remember.
So even if it means that we have something like that, which talks about
the environment, the climate,
animations that talk about the climate, that children would just see and maybe it will make them think and ask questions.
Spark a conversation.
Very good.
Or maybe
really
make them curious about it. Yeah.
Curiosity. Thank you so much. That's
absolutely.
The word.
We're inspiring confidence with bold, brave, and disruptive conversations.
Exactly.
And I want to find out, how has the work you do impacted on the people around you, your community? Has your work impacted on them, directly, indirectly?
Yes.
How has that impacted
Directly,
them?
directly and indirectly, and it has impacted them to take action. Before the time that I got sponsored
Yes.
to come up with a social justice album. Then I was later sponsored to do a climate
Oh, you have an
justice.
album?
Yes.
What's the name of the album?
We Are All Poets.
Okay.
Then I have an EP. Just
How can we
containing-
find it?
It's on all digital platforms. So your iTunes, Spotify, everywhere.
YouTube.
Asiibii or We Are All Poets.
Make sure you check it out.
Yes. Then the most recent project is Earthward. It's a climate justice advocacy spoken word EP. So we have just 4 tracks, but We Are All Poets has 7 tracks. So I'm on all social media platforms, by the way. So you can just check me out. My link.
Absolutely, yeah. Check her X, her Instagram, her
Yeah.
YouTube. Okay.
LinkedIn everywhere. So it's just that I'm not on TikTok. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm not too Gen Z. Yes, so
Okay.
yeah, so I was saying that it impacted my community directly because prior to my sponsorship, I decided to make it a duty to sweep my environment once a week. It is not
Just sweeping?
Yes, just sweeping.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes. I didn't want to be selfish, so not just my house. So let's say 3 houses in front of mine, 3 houses to the left, 3 houses to the right. So at least that's how much my strength can take. And I started that, and before you knew it, others would pass and say, they would joke and say, is someone special coming to your house that you need
Because
to,
you're
you know?
sweeping, yeah?
Yes, because I'm sweeping. But there was no way I could explain to them that I'm just passionate about the environment and we needed to do
And that's also a big
something.
misconception. People think when you're cleaning your space, you're expecting a guest. No, you should just clean it for your
Very
own.
good.
Yeah.
Let it just be clean. So I started that, and before you knew it, a lady from the other house joined me. I traveled.
It became a movement.
Yes, it became more like a movement. So the lady from the other house now
Okay.
swept one time I was away, and when I got back, she also swept that day I got back. So I was like, oh, cool. And we never spoke. So before you knew it, the lady from the other house also, because I get tired. There are days
Okay.
I'm ill, so I can't be sweeping every day. You
Wait,
understand? But I was happy that I could inspire such action, right? That was before my sponsorship. Then after I did the album, especially because I came from a very feministic perspective, it influenced the women and the girls in my community to also take better action. So not just sweeping, but also engaging in conversations. If there are community meetings, they also go and engage, you know, speak their minds concerning what is happening in the community. And I mean, after my climate justice project, I got a lot of feedback as to how it has inspired people, even online, to, you know, to understand, to not just know about the whole environmental issues we're dealing with, but to understand it and to relate with it, because it was poetry.
Okay.
And yeah, they were able to relate with it.
You are sweeping even the minds. You know, sometimes I say if you want to change the society or community,
Yeah.
you need to change the structure of the human mind.
Exactly.
Change how we think, how we see
Exactly.
things, and how change happens.
Exactly.
Absolutely amazing. I want to find out how you got involved with the GLF.
Okay.
How did you get in touch with them and got to maybe be a speaker today? How did that happen? Someone watching maybe is wondering, how did that happen?
Yes, it's a very exciting story. So I've made it a point of duty to send applications.
It's a good thing, being visible.
Yeah.
You know, someone told me, sometimes being known beats being the best.
Exactly. Because I know that I'm not the best of poets in Nigeria. I know. I mean, even in Jos.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no. And I'm very honest about it, even with my community in Jos.
My point makes sense. Yeah?
Yes, it makes
being known
very big sense.
beats being the best.
Exactly. Now, and I'm not saying that I am here makes me also the best, but I know of better poets in my community. In Jos. Jos is like it's like the capital city when we come to creativity.
Yes.
So a lot of Nigerian artists started from Jos. It's like an incubation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's like,
an incubation
nursery.
hub
Okay.
for the artists in Nigeria.
Okay.
A lot of artists started from Jos. A lot of actors, a lot of musicians. I don't know if you know MI. MI now is back to Jos.
Okay.
He's a rapper.
Yeah, I know MI.
Yeah, so P Square. P Square
Of course, P Square,
started
they're
from
huge,
Jos.
yeah. They're huge, yeah.
They have history, a lot, I think, more than, now, not accurate data, But based on my
But
own
you're from Jos too.
perception, yes, based on my perception, more than 50% of the most popular
Creative and
artists,
artistic minds.
in Nigeria started from Jos. So it's an incubation hub. And even now, there is a larger population of artists in Jos than there is anywhere across Nigeria. So maybe we can say, yeah, Lagos is ahead, but the next best place to be where
It's
creatives
Jos.
are is Jos.
All right, so you're talking about you sending applications.
Yeah,
so you
so-
sent an application.
Yes. So
Okay.
so let me start the story from here. I send 3 applications every week.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yes.
Consistently.
Yes,
Okay.
consistently. So when I came across, that was last year.
GLF.
No, the year before last. When I came across the GLF flyer for the storytelling competition.
You sent the
Yes,
application.
I sent in an
Amazing.
entry. The title of my poem was Climate Justice. Okay, it was last year. This is 2024, right?
Yeah, last year, 23.
Yes, 23.
Okay.
So I sent in an application. That was last year conference. So I sent in an application and I came second.
Oh,
Yes.
that's good.
So after that, I followed all I followed
channels
the GLF, and
across
followed all
all
the
channels, yeah.
channels. So I saw that they were recruiting for the Africa project team. And I made applications, made a video, sent, and I
Okay.
was selected. And
Visibility, putting yourself out there.
Out there.
All right.
So I was selected as one of the members of the Africa project team, youth project team, that is. And I've been part of the Africa project team. So I came here actually for. I sent in an application again earlier this year for the leadership camp. So what really brought me here is the leadership camp, but because also the conference
Was happening.
Yeah, was happening.
Timely.
So yes, and
Okay.
they needed youth voices to also be represented at the GLF. So they thought, why not inculcate? You're a poet. Why not inculcate?
Amazing.
This beautiful art into the program, and that was how they reached out to me, and I didn't have any problem because they thought because the timing was very short, by the way.
Yeah.
We had to write original poems
Okay.
and then original sounds and perform. So it was really amazing that I could come and perform on a global stage.
Amazing.
This amazing.
And what has it? You did a great job.
Yeah.
We'll be watching that, yeah?
A lot of people, right? I think about 3 persons already have walked up to me and say, okay, we'd want you to either come back to Kenya to do stuff or, we can just have you participate in our program virtually. So I
Amazing.
should be back here very soon.
You're welcome to Nairobi anytime. So I want to find out,
Yeah.
what do you think is the importance of involving artists and creative minds in pushing agendas about climate action, about nature, about greening the horizon? What do you think is the importance of having artistic minds in such spaces?
The importance is that it drives the message faster.
What we talked about, a soft landing.
Yes, what
It's
we
easy.
talked about is soft landing, because most of the population of the world are young people, and we have seen how entertainment now rules the world.
Yeah, it's global, it's massive.
Exactly. So if you want, in fact, for you to even get the attention of a young person,
You need
it has to be artistic.
Artistic, yeah.
You have to be creative about it. So I think it's all about changing thought patterns. Art goes a long way in engaging people faster than probably any other approach we might take. And it is important because the world is going towards that direction, and we need to inculcate art in what we're doing. And again, just to reflect also on what we said earlier, art has a subtle way of getting to our minds, our bodies, our feet for music, to move and all of that.
Yes.
And to reflect on the things that is being said if it is poetry. So there's no restriction. Even if a person is reciting a poem in a language
Art
I
is
don't
free.
understand. Yeah. There's this connection you get. Even if someone is singing in a language you don't understand.
Yeah, but you feel the vibe, the
Good.
energy.
You feel the energy.
Okay.
So it is a more effective tool to use, especially in the generation that we are. So
So art is very important. So
Very,
the
very
organizations watching, GLF have a space for artists
Yeah,
like you
yeah,
and
yeah.
me. Also, this
Yes.
is art.
yes, this is art.
This is art.
I mean,
so
just to also comment, I think 5-10 years ago, podcasts weren't a thing.
But right now it's a huge
but
thing.
It's a huge
It's
thing.
the future.
It's a whole industry.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited.
All right.
And I think this is the first podcast.
It's your first time on a podcast?
Yeah. I'm really
Amazing.
excited.
And we're inspiring confidence in greening the African horizon.
Yeah.
So I want to find out also how has maybe you say these organizations that you've been working with from now inception when you started and now, how has the attitude and awareness towards funding artistic ideas, has the perception changed?
Okay, yes.
Because I'm thinking the first time maybe you presented a proposal.
Yeah.
Maybe they were like, okay, we're not sure if you can jump on that one. But now, what's the difference today compared to 2 years, 5 years back?
Yeah. So 2 years, 5 years back, art wasn't... okay, let me just speak for my own industry.
Yes.
Spoken
the
word poetry,
industry.
yes.
Yeah, poetry.
Spoken word industry or the poetry industry wasn't taken too serious. Most times they just feel you're a lover boy or a lover girl when you start writing poems. And,
very misunderstood,
yeah.
Widely misunderstood.
Yeah, so it's either you're writing about depression or you are depressed and you start writing about love to just console yourself. So it wasn't taken seriously.
How huge is it in Nigeria?
It's very huge.
Okay.
In fact, I think everyone is a poet in
All right.
Nigeria.
Okay.
Yes. Because
all right.
you know the motivational speech thing, everybody has a quote that he wants to put out there. So 5 years ago, poetry wasn't taken seriously. But because quite a number of people foresaw the future and tried to start networks of poetry groups here and there. I think in Jos we have over 3 very active groups, which I belong to one, the Punchline Poetry Society. They're doing amazing stuff in incubating the artists and giving them platform to grow.
Amazing. Just send platform, them, very important, yeah.
To just send them out there. So it wasn't perceived correctly. But I sent applications, a lot of applications for funding before then. But again, I just thought that the organization that gave me my first chance at being funded understood the value of what I carried, because I was the only poet who was sponsored.
Okay,
for
interesting.
The project.
Okay,
and even for my second project, I'm the first ever poet they sponsored.
Oh,
so
wow.
yes.
So you're breaking the glass ceiling.
Yes. And again, someone has to be at the forefront of doing this thing.
And someone has to be the first one to do it, so that you can pave the way.
Exactly. So after I did my first project, I think the other organization in Jos got funding from the Dutch government or so to do a project on avoidable deaths. And my project paved the way for them to see that, this poetry thing can actually go as far as educating people on avoidable deaths. And I'm very proud because, as I said, someone had to do it.
Yeah, and you are the one who did it too.
And if I gave up, right? If I gave up, I wouldn't have probably, maybe all of us there wouldn't have probably imagined that organizations could fund us to do poetry.
Impactful work,
impactful work using poetry as a tool. So I really thank God, and I feel blessed that I was able to be funded by the African Culture Fund and Paddy Color to do my
your poetry
my
and showcase your talent and your skill. I mean, amazing. And I feel like even the people watching, organizations, include poet in your work. Include,
they should.
Artistic poetry, because I feel like also poetry has a way of your mind goes on a journey. It's like an escape. Exactly. The moment you start reciting a poem and it gives you a rich imagination.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that imagination is what happened in the hall when we were performing. I think this background sound alongside the slide that was being played and what we were saying really connected into a piece.
Okay.
And people were crying when we were performing.
Oh,
so they
you brought guys.
Yeah, so it was relatable.
All right.
You can imagine we're just saying words and another person is crying. That emotion.
Emotion, sparking an emotion.
Sparking that kind of emotion is really, it's really. Now I'm getting emotional. But it's really
It's
a
okay, don't
beautiful
worry about it,
thing
yeah,
to
okay.
experience. Yes, that
Okay.
your words could, put up this feeling of a person to
And bring
be,
change.
Yeah, to be involved in carrying out the
Absolutely
change.
amazing. This is the Confident One podcast, inspiring confidence in greening the African horizon. We're taking a short break. We'll be back with the CB, and she's going to recite a poem in the next segment.
Hey.
From the plains to the sea, we plant the roots of harmony. In the soil of hope, we stand as
This is the Confident One podcast. We're back with the CB to inspire more confidence in greening the African horizon. So, CB,
Yes.
your albums.
Yes.
You talked about your albums, but I want us to dive maybe into your albums and what should we look out for once we're checking out your album?
Okay.
About maybe something you've done about climate action or justice?
Yes. I think you should really look at my most recent EP. It's an extended play titled Earthward. So it talks about activism as per the activist herself, that is me and any other activist
Okay.
out there.
Watching and listening.
Yes, then it talks about wildlife conservation.
Amazing topic.
Yes, it also talks about preserving coastal environment. Then it talks about health and climate change, especially as relates to malaria. So I would really love, especially the global audience, to engage with that work, because there's a lot that it talks about. And though the things that I talk about may also not relate to the Western world so much,
It's about
but
Africa. The focus is Africa.
The focus is Africa. So, but it should also provide some sort of insights for those who are in the global space. But I
Okay.
would really recommend that. It's on all digital platforms. Just type Asiibii, and Asiibii is ASIIBII. So you just
get that
check me
right.
up.
Yeah, get that right.
ASIIBII. When you type that, I pop up and my works.
All right, amazing. And any upcoming projects that we should watch out for?
Yes, I am looking forward to work on a gender justice advocacy spoken word album or EP, depending
Impactful
on
work.
Yes, it will be titled Humanity.
Humanity.
Humanity, yes. So
More about that?
yeah, so Humanity is going to have a very feministic approach to the issues that women face. So we're talking economic justice, we're talking climate justice, we're talking
Gender justice.
Yes, gender. It's a gender justice stuff. So we're just streamlining to specific topics that
Very intentional, yeah?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So engage within women within the different sectors, across different sectors. So Humanity is going to be out later this year or early next year, and I'm looking forward to, because I've sent a proposal that I've not heard back yet.
Yeah, they might be watching.
Yes.
You should appeal to them. They should get back to you.
So I'm appealing to We Are Family Foundation to consider my application.
Okay.
Yes, so We Are Family Foundation, I sent in an application to them. I'm hoping that they consider my application for that work. But just in case my application does not pull through, which I pray that it's not the case, but if it does, I would still find a way to do that project.
All right.
Later
All the
in
best
year.
with that. We'll be
Thank
looking
you
forward to it.
so much.
And I want also to come in and also, before maybe we wrap up, what do you think should be the roadmap in achieving a green Africa? How do we achieve green in the African horizon? In your opinion?
Yeah.
In your artistic opinion as an artist, how can we achieve that?
First, collaboration.
Yeah, partnerships,
Yes.
collaborate.
We're talking about collaborations. Oh, firstly, commitment, personal commitment.
Start by greening your backyard,
your own
your area.
Yeah, your area. So personal commitment, then partnerships and collaboration, then investments, public private partnerships, investing in people or artists. Then we should continually emphasize the need for artists and artistic expressions within every space.
Especially
that we
such
are.
spaces
Yes.
that maybe the jargon is a bit ambiguous.
Yes.
So we need to break it down to...
Yes, and one of the places or areas I'm really trying to also focus on in the future is policy development. Policy development is very ambiguous, And I would love to use my art to do a lot of policy simplification,
Okay.
such that even children can understand
Oh
what the
yeah,
policies
but we spoke about that
Yeah.
with our previous guest
Oh,
about
nice.
involving kids from an early
Yeah.
age. They understand
What the policy-
the policies, what's the importance. They grow up understanding all these things.
Yeah. So in the future, I'm really looking forward to using my art for policy simplification.
Okay, amazing. We promised our listeners and audience you're gonna recite something for us. Are you ready to do something?
Yes, let's do this.
Feel free.
Okay, so I would be reading this if you allow me.
Yeah, you can read it. That's your camera.
Okay, so this piece is titled At All Costs.
At all costs.
Yes, so cost,
Cost.
not cost.
Cost like the coastline.
Yes, like
All
the
right.
coastline. So,
All right.
Okay. The oceans call out to us, desperate to shape this chaos into a tidy story. It beckons on us to rewrite the script because for centuries now, everything seems repetitive. I can feel us withering away like old leaves falling off trees. It is we who are drying and need refreshing. We have perpetuated unrealistic paradigms and taken the sea for granted. We have fed the deep with so much plastic, hoping to bottle up the looming consequences. We have fished down the food web, as though in a war to reinforce dominance, and have introduced invasive species and organisms into the oceans to warm, pollute, and acidify its boundaries. These waters are now responding in their might. Increased flooding and erosion, shifting sands and beaches, changes in water quality of lakes and lagoons. The headlands are crashing upon us, from the East Coast to the Gulf Coast, from Asia to the islands. The best legacy we can leave is making the present worth opening tomorrow. We must work in unison to navigate these challenging tides at all costs. Every country and person must pull to steer our shared vessel towards safer waters. World leaders as captains and everyone else as crew. We must decide on sustainable strategies that preserve our planet. We must establish thriving cultures anchored on data-driven and costed action plans, invest in coastal entertainment for community education, engage new technologies for climate modeling, develop coordinated mechanism and social support system through policy advocacy and mainstream coastal funding. We must be committed to long-term approaches that manage these rapidly changing coastlines, reduce exposure and vulnerabilities of communities to human-induced hazards, and deliver practical steps that help further preparedness. Are we ready to rewrite this story so that we can become the ancestors future generations deserve? From the deep blue sea to the open oceans, we must develop a survival guide for our planet so that it may never be said in our time that the seas died and so did our hope with them. Thank you.
An absolute masterpiece on the right side of history.
Yes.
That's an amazing piece.
Thank you so much.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so
Don't
much.
stop.
I won't.
All right. So, Asiibii, as we wrap up, there's a
Yes.
segment I call Words of Confidence.
Okay.
So you get to speak directly to the young people watching you,
Okay.
the youth, women, men, and you inspire confidence in them
Okay.
in greening the African horizon.
Okay.
So you speak directly to them
Okay.
and inspire confidence in them.
Okay, so hey everyone, we need to take environmental action seriously. It begins with me, it begins with you, and you can contribute in every way. In a little way, in a medium-scaled way, and in a very large way. Please do not say that what you are doing is insignificant. The little that you do would go a long way in contributing to the global contributions that everyone gives. So please do not think you're insignificant. You are significant. We love and appreciate your contribution, and do not stop. Stay within a community. Community is important. Take care of your mental health and, connect with other people locally and globally. And the sky will be your starting point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I call inspiring confidence.
Thank you.
With bold and brave conversations. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so
Keep
much for
breaking the
inviting
glass
me.
ceiling.
I will.
Invite us in Nigeria.
I
Jos.
will.
We'll be so happy to
Okay.
come
I would love
and
that.
create some greatness.
Yes. Thank you so much.
We'll be coming. Thank you for coming too. And
I
enjoy
appreciate-
Nairobi.
I will.
We'll be seeing you soon.
Maybe you guys should provide me a husband. I need to get married.
They're very handsome men in Kenya. Oh, you can see.
Yeah, very handsome man. Okay.
Thank you for your time, Asiibii.
Thank you so
And thank you
much.
for contributing to the GLF
I
with your
am
skills
honored.
and your craft.
I am
And
honored.
keep doing your thing.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
I-
This is the Confident One, and this is Asiibii. It's all about inspiring confidence in greening the African horizon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
begun.
Take
From
it
the
away.
plains to the sea, we plant the roots of harmony. In the soil of hope, we stand as one, greening the African horizon.